Hello and welcome to another GG Trends video. Now, I do the cheat sheets for major festivals across the flat season, and I will be doing them for the jumps as well when it comes to the likes of Cheltenham, Aintree, Punchestown, Royal Ascot, Goodwood. We've had them all. They've been productive, right? And I know I'll say this in every video. They don't have to be the sole way to make a selection, but they can help whittle down big fields, especially when we get to these big juicy meetings where you might want to play spot or a different way to play it. They can be helpful and they can be sometimes vital in seeing what's going on. Something like the Nunthorpe last time at York, where we saw that low draws were imperative. It makes a big difference when you're looking at this sort of stuff. So look, I've done the hard yards to create the articles. There will be links in this description for days 1 and 2 of the Doncaster St Leger Festival, and that's what I'm going to quickly try and run through in this video. Now, I'm going to try something out slightly different, being recorded before final declarations, but a lot of you will ask, who are the qualifiers from these particular trends that I have peeled out? So I am going to join this video up with a view to the article. So I'll show you on the screen, so you can pause those if you want. But like I say, click the link in the description. There will end up being a savable card you can just put on your phone, which is nice and easy. It gives you a little summary phrase at the bottom of the most important bits of information. But I'm also going to share up the Racing Post site, because I'll show you the quick and easy way that I may use these types of things to potentially whittle down a field. Now, I will reiterate, personally, I would be looking for form first and then looking at these pieces after. But there is no doubt that there are reasons historically why results go a certain way. And there are reasons why certain horses will go well at Doncaster and certain horses may not go well at Doncaster outside of just form. So look, it's probably in addition to your form selection in your study bits, but I find they're quite interesting. I'm going to do the qualifiers on the screen, but I will fast forward it in the edit. So you'll basically see me talk about a race. We'll then pick up the Racing Post cards. We'll go through the entries at this stage. I'll give you an idea of who's on the qualifying list. And when it comes to things like low draws, high draws, we don't have that just yet. We haven't got final fields, but at least you'll better see how I do the workings. You better do it yourself when it comes to that time, or you can just get a screenshot of the shortlist and see who's left after. So let's pull up the screens and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, look, Racing Post website's nice and easy. When I click onto cards, you'll see there's X's on there. It's a nice, easy way to do it. Plenty of races at Doncaster to get stuck into. And you can see there are plenty of runners, but this isn't final declaration stage yet. A lot of the fields at Doncaster do dwindle down to quite small fields. So look, I think this is a good opportunity to show you how I do it. Hopefully the visual aid on the screen is going to be helpful for you guys too. And then the main thing really is going to be to go through the cheat sheets. So as I say, these are all done for you. The hard yards are done. Put quite a bit of effort into these. The links are in the description, so please do go click. At the moment, there isn't the cheat sheet that you'll be familiar with that I put up on the screen, but we do have all the figures in here. So I'll peel through these just very quickly on the Racing Post site. As I say, I will fast forward this in the edit so we can see who the qualifiers are. But look, we kick off with a fillies Nursery Handicap. So look, Nursery Handicap, there isn't as much to go by. They're 2-year-olds. They won't have too many races in there. But look, all of the last 10 winners had already won a race. They're all 12-1 or shorter. So again, we don't have prices at the moment, but they can help later. 9 of the last 10 winners had already run 3 times. 8 of the last 10 were single figure priced and 5 of them were favourites. So the market is to be respected. 8 of the last 10 had an official rating of 80. We're already to know that. 8 of the last 10 raced within raced 21 days ago or more. We're already going to have that information. 7 of the last 10 winners were drawn in the bottom half. We don't have that. 6 of them were drawn stall 5 or lower. So interesting. 7 of the last 10s raced at 7 furlongs last time out. Again, we will know that. 7 of the last 10 finished top 2 last time out. The 2 of the 3 that didn't run in pattern races. So interesting that class may prevail for the ones that we can excuse there. And then look, 5 of the last 10 had won last time out. So I'll quickly go through this particular race. We'll see what comes up. I'll share the results. We'll move on to the next one and we'll go as quick as we can. So let's crack on. So we're left here with a couple of qualifiers. Miss Fascinator, 95 rated. We talked about them being over 80. You can see these 2 that have been left have both been jocked up too, but Miss Fascinator actually won last time out, which was prominent in those stats. Silver Ghost was second last time out. Both run at 7 furlongs. So these would be the 2 qualifiers. I talked about respecting the market. I imagine Miss Fascinator would be short. So as far as these trends and stuff are going to go, again, you can check it at final decks, but I'd imagine that Miss Fascinator is going to come out on top. Let's move on to the second race, see if we can do exactly the same and find ourselves a winner this far out. Scientific 2-year-old stakes. This is a pretty good race. Aidan O'Brien's had plenty of runners in here. I haven't done the work specifically on those to see what his actual records are, but I don't think he's had a winner of it. Anywho, 9 of the last 10 winners had already had 3 runs or more. 9 of the last 10 winners had more horses behind than in front last time out. So in terms of where they finished, if they ran in a 20-runner race, they would have had to finish 9th or shorter. If they ran in a 7-runner race, they'd have had to finish 3rd or shorter. I mean, in that instance, they could have finished 4th. It would have been the same amount, but they had more behind than in front. 8 of the last 10 had already won a race. 8 of the last 10 ran between 19 and 22 days ago. So that could be quite a key stat. 8 of the last 10 ran in a class 2 or better last time out. 8 of the last 10 winners had already achieved an RPR of 86. Now, I don't think that's going to whittle it down too much, the 86 plus, but you never know. 7 of the last 10 winners ran at York, but obviously we've got that time frame of 19 to 22 days, so that's kind of double counted. We're drawn in the top or bottom 3 stalls, 7 of the last 10. Again, don't have the draw, but that could help. 7 of the last 10 winners raced at 6 furlongs last time out. We do know that. But 6 of the last 10 winners were double figure priced. Again, we don't currently have that. But if there are a handful that are left over, which there could be in a race like this, then maybe price could help us on the day. So again, let's pop back to the racing post, see what the second race can throw up for us. Again, I'll speed this bit up and come back to you once we have the selections. So possibly, as we'd expect, there are a handful of qualifiers. Well, I say a handful. We've got a couple more than that. We've got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these at this stage. Now, we don't know definitely who's going to run of these. You can see there are a few jockeys that have been booked up, but I did talk about some of these winners being double figure priced, and I did talk about some of these being in the top 3 or the bottom 3 of the field. Look, there's going to be plenty of runners in here. We'll see from this shortlist who comes out with that potential good draw. Price obviously is up to debate where you want to feel with that one, but these are the ones that currently tick the boxes in there. So look, at this stage before final declarations, we've managed to reduce 28 runners down to potentially 7 off of these trends boxes. So again, let's see who of those lines up. Move on to the third race. Not all of these actually have got trends. I'll just quickly touch that in there. For Doncaster, it's the 4-day meet. It has a few races that have been introduced, but look, we'll go through the ones that we have got. One that we definitely do have, Group 2, the May Hill Stakes. Now, all of the last 10 winners finished in the top 4 last time out. 7 of them finished top 2. So if we do need to whittle this down further, and we got too many with the top 4, I would reduce it further to top 2. Last 5 winners all won last time out. That is interesting. 8 of the last 10 winners came from the top 2 in the market. There were 3 favourites. 7 of the last 10 winners ran at 7 furlongs last time out, and 7 of the last 10 winners ran inside the last 3 weeks. Those last couple of stats, they are 7 out of 10 jobs, but we'll see if we can whittle this field down. Look, group races, typically the class does come to the fore, but I'll do my bits. I'll come back to you and we'll see who's left on the shortlist at this current stage. So in the Group 2 Fillies May Hill Stakes, we can actually reduce the field at this stage down to just 2 runners from the 12 that are currently in. Now, I did talk about top 4 finished, and I might whittle that to top 2. The last 5 winners have won last time out, though. So because most of these horses are finished in the top 4, if not all of them, plenty are finished in the top 2 and plenty are finished first, I have just gone for last time out winners. But when you bring into the fact that most of them had run within the last 3 weeks, a lot of them had run at 7 furlongs last time out, it leaves us with these 2, Ashoda and Flight. Both jocked up, Billy Loughnane for Dave Loughnane, and then we got Oshie Murphy on for Ollie Sangster. 32, 7-1 at the current stages. We'll see how things go, but these would be the 2 that would be top of the list at the moment. Let's move on to the next race that we got some details for on day 1. We have the Park Hill Filly Stakes, Group 2, 1 mile, 6.5 furlong. Now, look, there's lots of bigger ones in here. We haven't got to drop down to the 7 out of 10s, hopefully to whittle this one down. All of the last 10 winners ran at 12 furlongs or more last time out. I think that's going to be most of the field. All of the last 10 winners ran in listed company or better last time out, so either listed or a group race. 9 of the last 10 winners had 3 or more runs that season. That might help. 8 of the last 10 were drawn in the top or bottom 2 stalls. So again, we don't have the draw at the moment, but that might help us on a bigger, longer shortlist. 8 of the last 10 winners were priced 32 or shorter. Again, we might not have that correct at the moment, but we have a bit of an idea. And 8 of the last 10 winners had already won that season. Now, look, 7 of the last 10 winners had not already won a Group 2 or better. This is, of course, a Group 2, but are you really going to downplay a horse that's already won a Group 2? Maybe it's the penalties that might cause a problem. And 6 of the last 10 winners did win last time out. So again, if you've got too many of them left, maybe that could be the way that we swing it. So again, I'll put this up on the screen and I'll come back to you guys once we've got the shortlist. So done the hard yards there. We're left with again, I would have thought it, a longer shortlist. Now, I touched on the fact that you may be able to whittle things down a bit further as we get to final declarations. Even at this stage, right, you could peel it out that we've had 6 of the last 10 were last time out winners. That would mean that Scenic at this stage would be the easiest one of all of these to give the best chance to, because one last time out. I did touch on the fact that a lot of the winners were drawn in the top 2 or bottom 2 stalls and were priced 13-2 or shorter. So again, you might want to wait for final declarations and afford some of these to be better. But look, Scenic's going to be priced 13-2 or shorter at final decks. Again, another one that's already jocked up. You'd hope that this filly gets herself a draw that is in the top 2 or the bottom 2, and that would cement those claims. I mean, it's not the be all and end all for that type of stuff, but it has been quite prolific. I touched on it when we're looking at it here. 8 of the last 10 winners were drawn in the top 2 or bottom 2 stalls. So could be interesting, but you know, Scenic would be the standout, but these would be the other ones that would be on your sort of longer shortlist. Like I say, you can do this for yourselves when it comes to it at final decks. Anyway, Pem Handicap. Just one run of this race. We've got no trends yet. I did loosely say that there'll be a few of these. Nursery Handicap again. So this is one where we've got 2-year-olds. It's a nursery. We've got another one straight after. It's a nursery. They'll be the last 2 we can do on this day. But let's get these ones fired out, right? So the 445, 8 of the last 10 winners had already won a race. 8 of the last 10 winners had already run at 7 furlongs, and 7 of those 8 had already won. So we're looking for a winner at 7 furlongs. We touched on the fact they've already got to have won a race. 8 of the last 10 winners did not win last time out. That could help. 7 of the last 10 winners were priced 4-1 or shorter, and 5 of them were favourites. So again, market's going to be really helpful in this one. And 6 of the last 10 winners were drawn in the bottom 3 stalls. So again, we don't have that at the moment, but I'll tell you who would be on the likely shortlist in just a second. Okay, fairly quicker one there. I did notice, obviously, on the article, the time has changed. 4:40 instead of 4:45, but we are. I digress, right? The Nursery Handicap, 2 horses that are left. Nice and easy one. And again, we touched on the fact that the draw, the price, all those types of things might help a little bit further. But look, we were talking about horses that hadn't won last time out. We were talking about horses that had won a race and they'd won at the distance. So you can see the D helps us there. And like I said, we haven't won last time out. So it was fairly easy to whittle this field down, to be fair. We've got Yarug, again, Tom Marquand's already booked. We've got Oisin Murphy booked on Spellmaster. They're the top 2 at this particular stage. I think they're both going to stand their ground. Price and draw could be the differential if you were looking to go solely off of trends. Let's crack on, get the last handicap done for day 1, and then we can move on to day 2, and I can leave you all to enjoy the rest of your evenings. Nursery Handicap here, 5:15. I don't even know if we've got the time right on this. We'll have a look. We got one right. So 5:15. We've got all of the last 10 winners with single figure price. Again, don't know it now, but we will near the time. 9 of the last 10 winners had run 3 or more times already. 8 of the last 10 winners finished top 2 last time out. They ran in a class 4 or class 5 last time out. Fairly important, because some of the horses that ran in a better class race didn't actually do as well as you would maybe suspect. People do say that class prevails in a handicap. Maybe a few of these are just hiding before they go in the race. 8 of the last 10 winners had an official rating of 79 plus. 8 of the last 10 winners carry between 8.12 and 9.3. So we won't know that for definite until we get final declarations. Of course, if the top weight moves, the rest of the weights do, but this could help. 7 of the last 10 winners had already won a race. That's fine. 7 of the last 10 winners ran at 8 or 8.5 furlongs last time out. So they'd ran about this trip. Let's have a look and see who the shortlist is left with at entry stage. Okay, so at this point, we don't obviously have the prices. I did talk about the weight band, but by doing the whittling down sort of in order of the sheet as it shows up within here, as you can see, the weight is below the official rating. And again, the weight can change depending on runners. This is the only horse that's left. Brindavan, lots of all-weather form, won over the mile last time out. You saw there was one horse that was left to the side that unfortunately ran at 7 furlongs last time out. So, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all, but was quite a prevalent fact. We've got Daniel Muscat books. We've got a horse here that potentially is the highlighted selected horse even before we get to final declarations. There wasn't a massive difference when it comes to draws on this particular race and renewals. So Brindavan looks like it's probably the winner of the 1 mile Nursery Handicap. That is day 1 done. Let's crack on. Again, I'll speed through so we can get the shortlist in there, and we'll get the cheat sheets done for day 2. Friday's interesting as well. I touched on the amount of runners that we might get. There are smaller size fields. Look, there aren't even that many for us to run through now. It's something that I like to look at in advance. As I say, it's an addition to the form study, but look, we can do this quite easily for day 2. I will be back again with doing day 3 and day 4 in a separate video, just to keep them short and concise, relevant, and sort of up to date. But yeah, let's crack on. We've got a good race to kick off with. The Betfred Mallard Handicap. Look, we've got lots of ones that, again, are above the 7 out of 10 bracket. I like the 8s and the 9s. If we can get loads of 9s, then I do feel real confident that these things do hold up. But all of the last 10 winners raced in a handicap last time out. 9 of the last 10 winners had 4 or more runs that season. 8 were priced 7 to 1 to short, 7 to 1 or shorter. Again, not going to know that for definite just yet. Ran in the last 23 days, so easy to get that one. Ran at 12 or 14 furlongs last time out. This is a race over 1 mile, 6.5. 8 of the last 10 winners ran in a Class 2 last time out. Look, we've got the extra ones in there. They'd already won a race this season. Had run at about 14 furlongs, and 3 of them had won at about this sort of trip. And then 6 of the last 10 winners ran at York. But again, let's not double count that because we've got the last 23 days or less in here. So look, without further ado, let's see how we can whittle this field down. And again, I'll skip through it and I'll come back to you to let you know where the shortlist sits. Okay, so we're left with 4 in here. There was quite a few that were left from the early selections. It's the trip last time out, the 12 furlongs or 14 furlongs that seems to have chopped a load of them. A load of them ran at York in the 2 mile-ish handicap, which was a Class 2. Now, look, we've got 4 that are left over in here. Drawn to Dream would be one that, again, those 7 out of 10 ones. Like, it's running around about the trip. I don't think it's got a win at the trip. We haven't got the win this season in there either. So that could potentially be a way to whittle them out. And it'd be the same for Knightswood, and it would be the same for Kiava, right? So you can be as harsh or as kind as you want on lots of these horses that are in here. Talked about 8 of the last 10 winners being priced 7 to 1 or shorter. So you'd say those bigger ones. Knightswood, I'm a big fan of him. He ran today, didn't he? The Saturday when I'm recording this, the 7th. So whether he's going to run or not, I don't know. It'll be a quick turnaround, but look, he still managed to finish in the top 4 today. Kiava, Knightswood, Drawn to Dream would be the speculative ones. Kiava could still be there on price. It depends how you want to sway it. But Phelak would be the one that would tick pretty much all of the boxes that you would want in there. 14 to 1 at the time of this. Depends at final declarations what's going to happen in there. But again, you can see how you want to go. These are the types of races where potentially, being a big handicap, the opening card or the opening race on the card for day 2, you're looking at a place pot type bet and you think, look at this Draw to Dream. Imagine this horse pops in and there's a bit of a couple of surprises in there. You could easily see a reduction in those place pools. So look, I'm not telling you to put these 4 in and be fine with it if they're all declared at final declarations, but these would be the 4 that would be on my shortlist, the way that I've gone through the trends. Again, interpretation does come in where it's those 7 out of 10 ones, but like, I've ranked them in order in those bullet points so you can see the order I would do these things in. So Phelak would be the one that I'd be looking at in the Mallard. So good price potentially. Again, we talked about the last 8 of the last 10 winners have been 7 to 1 or shorter. So maybe the good juicy price isn't actually as good as you may want it to be. Right, let's carry on because I'm waffling way too much in there. The Flying Scotsman Stakes, we've got ourselves a listed race. So again, I do find the trends and stats for listed and graded and group races do help, but look, they're there to be broken, aren't they, when the horses are a bit more trustworthy and the handicaps are a bit more plotty. So that's where the trends do sometimes help a lot more. But anyway, we'll see what comes out of this. All of the last 10 winners were single figure priced. Again, price relevance, we're not going to know yet. 9 of the last 10 winners had already won a race, and all of the last 9 had. So I'll be using that. 9 of the last 10 winners raced at 7 furlongs last time out. 9 of the last 10 winners raced inside the last 4 weeks, and 7 of the last 10 winners won last time out. The 2 others of those 3 were second in listed company, and the other one was unplaced in a group 3. So you could be kind to all horses in there, right? So they should have won last time out. They didn't win last time out, and they ran in listed company. They should have come second. And if they ran in a group race, you could just allow them that as long as they tick the rest of the boxes. So that one is 7 out of 10, but I would be happy to bolster that to be a confident selection. So we'll use all 5 of these to work out the criteria. And again, I'll be back in a second to tell you who's going to win the Flying Scotsman before the race has even been finalised. Okay, so it was almost worded like I'd done this before, but I haven't. I'm doing this, whittling it down. As I say, my experience from trends, pieces, and certain race types, flat and jumps, you get a bit of a feel for, I don't know, how much you could potentially whittle something down. Now, this is a race where we've got 17 runners that are at this declaration stage entry stage as opposed to declaration stage. And there are horses that haven't won last time out, but I looked at the types of races they're in. The group horses would have, they could have finished anywhere. And the listed horses must have finished second. Look, these are the ones that tick the boxes if they ran at 7 furlongs last time out. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 horses. We can't even halve the field at this stage. Now, look, you can see there's plenty of horses that have been jocked up. You can see there are a number of horses that have official ratings next to their names as well. So you might be able to pin it out from them. But look, this would be the type of race where we've had a little early look at it, you're not going to be able to find out from patterns what's going to happen in this particular race. So 100% form book on the Flying Scotsman Stakes. But let's move on. We'll see what we can get in the Group 2 Flying Childers, because this is a pretty good race, to be fair. Again, I talked about I like to have the bigger numbers. You can see there are an abundance of trends that are 8 or bigger, and we've got a good few chunks that are alls and the 9. So look, they've already had 2 wins this season. They were not unbeaten. They had 1 at 5 furlongs, and 3 of those were unbeaten at 5 furlongs too. So look, they've got to have 1 at 5. 9 of the last 10 winners last ran in a group race, so that's fine. They did not win last time out, so that will help with the unbeaten fact anyway, but they must have at least 2 wins. I've touched on that already. 8 of the last 10 winners came from the top 3 in the market. 5 of them were actually second favourites, interestingly enough, so that's going to help. 8 of the last 10 winners already had an official rating of 101 plus. Had not already won a Group 2. Again, penalties, all those types of things. They might have bigger targets down the line. 8 of the last 10 winners ran inside the last 4 weeks, and 7 ran within the last 3 weeks. So again, for helping us whittle it down, we could reduce that, but we'll start off with 4 weeks and we'll see how we go. I'll come back to you guys again to let you know what the shortlist looks like at this stage for the Group 2. Okay, so fairly quick to whittle our way through that one. Obviously, the fact that most of the winners hadn't won last time out, obviously being unbeaten, that was a true of all of them. But the 2 wins was the biggest one, I think, that sort of moved this about. Oh, it really hurt looking at taking Moorlam out of these figures, because, you know, she's a horse that I like. But we've had to look at the reality of this, that, you know, the trends are there, and that's the point of looking at these types of things, to see how influential they could be in finding the winner. We've had 18 runners. We can whittle that down to 2. Treasure Isle and Ain't Nobody both ran in group races last time out. So, look, we don't know whether Aidan's going to send all these horses over or not. We'd have to look and see what's been done within there. But he's a horse that's not jocked up at the moment, and is the 12-day runs. Now, Ain't Nobody, I said about the horses running within the last 4 weeks, and then potentially the 3 weeks as being the one that's in there. The horse has been left. It's 64 days in there. Does tick the box of 101, and that was the bottom trend that's in there. So look, my absolute and utter preference, and the only one that qualifies on everything, is Treasure Isle. I've left Ain't Nobody in there just for the fact that, look, if Aidan O'Brien's runner doesn't come across here, then I would have that horse as the next best in there. But look, if Treasure Isle was to come over, fits the profile absolutely perfectly of a Flying Childers winner. And of course, with Aidan O'Brien, we know he's an absolute weapon of a trainer, and he's got a lot of horses that may, maybe not fulfill the promise at the start of the season, but can still pick up big things next time. A lot of horses can just be 2-year-olds. A lot of horses can then obviously turn into being better 3-year-olds. And you've had a good chance now, we're into September, to develop as a horse. These horses that may have not fulfilled their promise, like I say, could now come good in races like this. So Treasure Isle would be the absolute box ticker if Treasure Isle runs. We'll have to see. I left you with the other one just in case. Let's move as we crack on with another couple of races. So Doncaster Cup Stakes, 2 mile, 2 furlongs, but there's not as many figures that we can really whittle down in here. We've got 5 big bullet points there. We've only got 4 that are 8 or bigger, again, the ones I time to like. And again, from the first one as well, and potentially the first 2, ain't really going to help us out. This is a race that's been farmed by like a Stradivarius, right? And 7 of the last 10 winners were favourites. So you probably wouldn't even need this to help you find the winner of the race. But we'll do it for cracks anyway. So let me pick this up. I don't know why I keep going back to day one. Let me pick this up, and I'll show you again who the shortlist comes out for this particular race. But it's going to be an easy one, I would have thought. Okay, so possibly, interestingly, I've got like a stat that comes up here, which I'll put up on the screen again, is look, 8 of the last 10 winners ran between 20 and 27 days ago. Now, we have got multiple winners of the race that would have prepped in the same race, Stradivarius being the main one of those. So that can make a difference to these particular statistics in there. But by using that day's run thing, it does take out Sweet William, because he ran 45 days ago. So look, use that as you want to use it. Gregory for the Gosdens again, Wathnan Racing, second favourite, comes out on top. Point Lonsdale's obviously there joint with him. Now, he was beating favourite. They ran in the same race last time out, 6-1. We don't know if Raiden's going to send him or not, but look, they're going to come from the top 3 in the betting, I would presume. Again, we have to depend what ground's like and things like that as well. But as it stands at the moment, Gregory and Point Lonsdale would be the 2 that I'd be looking to take on their favourite with, using these trends solely. Now, look, Gregory hasn't got his head in front for a little while, has he? But I don't know whether this is really classed as a drop back in class. I mean, it probably is. It's a good opportunity for him anyway. Looks a good race. They would be the 2 that come out on top. So let's crack on. I know you've got busy things to be doing. We've got a couple of races again on here that we haven't got full stats for. We've got the next race, which is the Maiden Filly. Cersa won that last year. And then the last couple of races we haven't got. There's a confined nursery. Talked about nursery handicaps where a number of runs that they've had. That confined nurseries, they've been confined. They can only have had one win. So we wouldn't be using that now. But when the trends come out after, I wouldn't say only has won once, because that's a condition of the race. Anywho, let's crack on with the Premier Fillies Handicap. This will be the end of this video. Like I say, days 3 and days 4 I will do again. You can click the link in the description to find the videos for these. But this is one, again, trends can be helpful to use stuff. We don't have as many races to go at here. We got introduced in 2016, but there was no race in 2022. All of the last 7 winners had won a race at 1 mile 4, so that's going to be helpful. So that's the trip that it is. So distance, we got that on Race Post, nice and easy. Price 4 to 1 or short, we don't know that at the moment, but again, that's probably going to be very helpful. Had an official rating between 85 and 89. That feels like a massive one to me for if you want to find something potentially against the grain. I say against the grain, obviously lots of other people look at these stats, but you never know. Something could tick all the boxes and just be lower rated because there's a better class horse in there. It is a handicap and it's all balanced out, but you know when people say about that group horse and a handicap. Anywho, 6 of the last 7 winners had won that season and all of the last 6. So that is something I'm definitely looking for. And they ran in a handicap last time out. So again, that 85 to 89 bracket could be helpful, especially coupled up with running a handicap last time out. Let's move on to that and see what we can figure out. Wonder if this one's at 440 or 445. We'll soon find out. No, 445. Anyway, not that it really matters. I'll leave this in the edit because I like to waffle, but you can see the point of confusion for day 1. Look, who knows? By the time you're watching this video, they probably changed the race time on this. Look, I'll crack on and I'll come back to you once I've done it. Okay, so we're back. Again, just to reiterate all the time stuff, they've rescheduled the races on these days, which is fine. It is what it is, but I'm getting these articles out as early as I can. So it's the 4:10. Race times are fine, but the order of those two is the wrong way around. I'll get the article updated as quickly as I can on the website, but we are where we are, right? You know the race. I've written the title in there. So whittled this down all right. There's 14 runners. It could be a small field anyway. We've only got 3 that sit in there. The Irish Raider ran in a maiden last time, so didn't tick the handicap box. But look, we've got 3 horses, all officially rated 87, so right bang in the middle of that 85 to 89 band. They've all won a race this season. You can see they're all distance winners. We've got a couple of course and distance winners in there. 2 of the 3 have been jocked up, but you never know. All 3 could run. So look, again, it might not really help because it could be a small field and these 3 could all be well in with a chance. But the one that we can't do at the moment is being priced 4 to 1 or shorter. Again, we don't know how this would sit and how this race is going to be priced up. But look, if you get these 3 left in here and one of them's a 3 to 1 poke and the other 2 are double figures, or I don't know, bigger than 4 to 1 essentially, that would be the one that would come out on top for this particular trend. So bring my beautiful face back up. That is days 1 and days 2, as I say, slightly different to the way I normally do it. I just tend to read out the trends and then leave you guys to it. But I thought I'd show you the method you can quickly use on the Racing Post. As at entry stage, we have not many runners in the fields and you can start to whittle them down. So it gives you a bit of an idea of who you might be looking for. And there will be some short-term anti-post bets that some people might want to strike. I would be semi against that myself. It can be a real dangerous situation to put yourself in for the sake of it, and you're a bit guessing on what the price is going to do. But obviously it's each to their own, right? Again, don't want this to be your sole selection method. Probably can really help in those place pools like I've touched on, especially this Mallard handicap could be a real eye-opener there if we get a right result. But they are good to look at, and obviously getting excited when you've got a 4-day festival coming up. This could be the type of stuff that, you know, box ticking before you get there. 4 days of these to do. I'm helping you through them now, but at final declaration stage, you can do your form study. You can see who comes out on these, and as I say, you might want to have a some novelty bets, some lucky 15s and all those types of things with the ones that do qualify. As always, appreciate your guys' support. Make sure you are subscribed to the GG channel. Make sure you are liking the video. Make sure you drop in a comment below as well, because all those things help with the interaction on the video and the traction. Linked in the description to the articles, and I will see you again for days 3 and days 4. Let me know what you think of the concept. Let me know what you think of the way that I've done it. All feedback's greatly appreciated. Work in progress, etc., etc. I just want to make this as easy and digestible as I can for you. Like I say, I put a lot of hours into these. I don't want you to have to do the hard yards too. The whole point is I do it for everyone essentially, and then you can just take my word for it. Anyway, be lucky. See you again soon. Yeah, and that's the end of that.